Good morning! Work is starting soon, so I'm just out in the yard getting some sunlight. Okay, I had a recent thought. There are so many dating coaches out there for women, and they always talk about we have to help hundreds of women, we have to help thousands of women master their feminine energy and balance their hormones and find the love of their lives and become healthy, and that's great. The bird agrees. However, here's my thought. I'm so grateful there's so many people able to get help now because of online resources. Back in the day, as a helping professional, I came through different programs where different people had mentorship, supervision sort of roles in new interns' lives. And they would talk about we've, successfully helped XYZ amount of people become professional, this, that, and the other, whether it was like chaplains, music therapists, pastors, whatever. And my little renegade question every time somebody was talking about how wonderful their program was thank you so much for what you contributed to the world, and also what have you as an educator, and so now I apply this to coaches and gurus and all the helping peoples online and other places, is what have you learned from and with the people you've been helping? In what ways have you been transformed? And could you speak to that? Because we're not just like experts like helping people. This is like spoon feeding people philosophy. I'm not saying all dating coaches or educators and mentors in the helping profession are spoon feeding people, but I wish there were a little more emphasis on the fact that in each person exists like an inner knowing and a truth, and our role hopefully is to facilitate the dismantling of things that block them from hearing from their inner child and the things that sort of guide them, with additional input and insight from other people's experiences, obviously. But I'm sure like these mentors and coaches are getting better at their craft the more people they coach, but it's not that they're successful because they've coached more and more people. It's because they're also learning through the process of coaching, and that's helping them get better. Like as a violin teacher, I'm a better teacher because I learn from students how to teach my students. So this is like a Paulo Freire sort of philosophy, but like really, it's not the banking method where we deposit knowledge or wisdom into recipients, like students, clients' lives, but it's also what we, I'm getting a text and super distracted, what we gain from the process, and not gain from like, oh, I gained experience, I gained clientele, but also like, am I being transformed? It's a mutually transformative process. Bell Hooks talks about it too. Look it up. Okay, that's my morning rant. It is the day after the lunar eclipse, Friday, and I guess I'll keep going. I'm riffing. I was sharing in team meeting yesterday about a 98-year-old patient who I saw the day before he turned 98, and he asks me thoughtful questions. He's the care receiver, but he was the one saying, like, reflecting on his life and asking me, would you change anything about yourself if you could? So we had a whole discussion about that. He's totally clear-minded, lives independently. But one thing I was telling the team was like, we have been using reminiscence as a spiritual care intervention for like 2 years now. And I was saying like, and it's not even that he repeats the same memories over and over. The more he remembers, which means people say like muscle memory is a muscle, right? But we're not just talking about like learning things, learning a new language or a new skill, which is all valid, but also learning to remember or practicing remembering from our past, because that is a big source of healing and reconnection to our sense of self is reminiscence, and learning new things about ourselves through seeing our past through a new lens, because as we age and gain more experiences, we hopefully gain different tools to also interpret the past. So I was saying, like, the more he remembers, and it just keeps unfolding in this beautiful way that self-generates more connection, and he needs less and less prompting from me now to remember, because as his brain is remembering how to remember. So I think sometimes, like, the helping professionals are so intent on, like, asking the right questions and, like, facilitating this and that and the other. But honestly, once we kind of get their switch going, they can start self-generating some of the tools that they need. And if we just follow their lead, we will all arrive together, and we will have accompanied them into a realm of healing that we did not instigate or facilitate, except through being present and being open to their inner wisdom, which is very humbling. And now there's a spider web, which is very humbling and, like, prevents toxic power dynamics and ego and weirdness in every sort of helper dynamic. So that's my big rant, because we still need healers out there, but we are all wounded healers. And in our wounding, how can we, in humility, receive the gift of healing along with the folks that we're accompanying? Of course, knowing that they are the ones sort of going through the process, and we are with them, and they are the main character of the story. But how do we sort of lower ourselves or remove ourselves from that guiding role and just say, hey, I'm here to bear witness to your process, because that's more fun, and it's more effective, and it's more sacred, and it's just better that way. So